Good evening. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:30 on the 14th of October, CRA board meeting. We're going to begin tonight's meeting with an invocation by Board Member Hay, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Please rise.
Let us all stand. Lord God, our Creator, we thank you for another day. Father, we come to you this evening asking for your guidance, your wisdom, and your support. Help us to engage in meaningful discussions. Fill us with your grace, Heavenly Father. As we celebrated on yesterday, Columbus Day, help us to continue to appreciate the accomplishments of our forefathers. Yes. Touch our hearts. Help us to realize the importance of the voting that's coming up on Tuesday, November the 4th. Father, we also ask that you bless the CRA board and its staff. Help us to make good decisions that will affect the students, parents, citizens, and friends of Boynton Beach. Father, continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth, for the greater glory of you, and for the service of humanity. We ask it all in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Boynton. Here. Vice Chair Costello.
Here.
Mr. Fitzpatrick. Here. Mr. Hay.
Here.
Mr. Dupre.
Here.
Murphy.
Yes.
Peter Taylor.
Here.
Dr. Ford.
Thank you. Agenda approval, any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda? Second. The motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
So the motion is unanimous. Informational items and disclosures by board members and the CRA staff. I'll start with Mr. Board Member Buchanan.
No disclosures. No disclosures.
Okay. Board Member McCray.
Thank you, Chair. No disclosures, and I'd set it up at the commission meeting. Thank you.
Board Member Merker.
Well, the only thing that it was a pleasantry, a surprise, somewhat of a shock to me, and Mayor Taylor and Vice Mayor Costello are going to say, "Who you kidding?" But I shot a 40 for 9 holes in golf, and believe me, I was shocked.
Who are you kidding?
Was that carpet?
Carpet,
Board Member Gazelle.
Just real quick, Mr. Mayor, we had a food giveaway Saturday. It was with the State Rep Laurie Berman, and it was with the farm share, and we had a trail of loaded pallets of food that was given to the out to the needy and not so needy. Whoever showed up got bags of food and boxes of food. It was just a great feeling to be able to do something like that. I'd like to thank the city of Boynton Beach for they helped us with the logistics of it, as far as getting the pallets off the truck. It's something to get the food for free, but you got to get it off the truck to the people. And thank God that we had some help from utilities and Jeff Littlegood and his crew. So it all went well. We feeded many. Woodrow Hayes showed up for a little while. He can attest to how well it was going there for a while. It was, in the beginning, we only had maybe 40, 50 people show up, and now we've got tons. You can't imagine how much food that we had there. And we were a little concerned. It was not what do we do, but through Twitter and Facebook and word of mouth, and all of a sudden, they just, boom, they were there. We were supposed to close down at 12. We ended up staying open till like 1:15. So it was just a great day.
Great. Board Member Fitzpatrick.
No, I haven't met with anybody. No disclosures.
Board Member Hay.
I have no disclosures, but I did attend the 2014 annual conference, the FRA, down in Miami this past week, and a lot of good information was presented. The slide presentations will be on their website, and they will notify us when that happens. A lot of great classes were given. One in particular, I was impressed with. I'm impressed with a lot of them. But the one on accelerating urban investment, right here in our county, the city of Riviera Beach, has a program that I thought was very interesting, and maybe we want to take a look at it. It was called the City Ambassadors Program. And basically what they do is empower the citizens to take pride in their community. They help it to clean it up and to keep it safe. I was very impressed with that, plus some other good information. The other thing I want to say about that is that I noticed that there were several city staff that were at the FRA, and so I would encourage and advise some of our city staff, officials, city manager, etc., to take a look at maybe attending some of those, because there was a lot of good information shared that we could utilize, not just the CRA, but citywide. Lastly, we all know of the dimensional harmony that is at Boynton Beach High School. And this coming Thursday, day after tomorrow, there will be a candidate forum for the election that's coming up on November the 4th. That will begin at 4:30. The candidates will start their discussions at 5, and then right around 6:30, I believe it is, no, 7. At 7, there will be a concert given by the Dimensional Harmony of Boynton Beach High School. They're in the process of trying to raise monies to go to Carnegie Hall. And they are outstanding. If you never heard them, you missed a treat. I would advise us to try and support that activity on this coming Thursday at Boynton Beach High School. Thank you. That's it.
Staff, do you have any disclosure?
I just want to report that I attended the PTA conference along with the city manager and the finance director in Fort Lauderdale. Last Thursday and Friday, we were there with a booth presenting the town square plan. We got a lot of attention with our plan. It's 16 acres and about a $150 million project. And I think we got a lot of attention from financiers, developers. So I think it all in all, it was a very, very positive thing for the city, so stay tuned.
Thank you. I was going to announce that also. It was the Florida Council of Public and Private Partnerships, who we attended on Thursday and Friday of this past week. Besides the people that Ms. Brooks announced, that we also had some of her staff there also, plus our planning director, finance director, myself, Commissioner Merker, Commissioner Vice Mayor Casella, and I think that was everybody, but really good. Yeah, I said planning director. They have, we made contacts with a lot of developers, and they were very interested in our presentation. We were considered, everybody said we had the best booth there. CRA did a fantastic job of putting that up and presenting it. So we got a lot of interest in, besides the town square, all of our downtown. And they were not aware of a lot of it. We had a lot of developers there and their representatives, and they were from across the country. So it was really, really time well spent. So we look forward to something coming of that. I have one other thing. Seems like months ago now, I did meet with representatives from the Lucchese project, which is going to be on the agenda tonight. Just wanted to make that, I did meet with them. Go ahead.
Yeah, the only thing is, which I want to continue what the mayor just said, I want to also thank the citizenry, because the plan that Treasure Coast created stood out, and the input from the citizens, and this is what a city always needs, is input from the citizens, new citizens getting involved, and that's what was personally displayed by us, the city.
Okay, moving on to announcements and awards. The first announcement is the November CRA board meeting will be held on Wednesday, November 12th, rather than on the 11th, because the 11th is Veterans Day, be a holiday. So it'll be on a Wednesday instead of a Tuesday, November 12th, and that'll be the CRA meeting in November. Next is the third annual Boynton Beach Haunted Pirate Fest and Mermaid Splash. Do you want to speak about that?
Good evening, Board. Amy Zimmerman from the Boynton Beach CRA Special Events. And we are down to the wire now. We're a week and a half out, and we are ready. It is going to be a shorter distance along the ocean, but much more volume to the event. And we've closed the area in a little bit. That was the street reopening on Ocean. I closed that down a little bit more. We've got some roving acts to keep that motion going through so it feels like one event. We've added some acts this year as well, some new acts. We have family-friendly things throughout. We're creating a Kids Buccaneer Village in Dewey Park. We have the 2 separate interactive ships that'll be at the event as well. One will be in Dewey Park. We have an archery encampment there that's got foam bows and arrows for the kids to use. And we have 2 huge dining tents at each end for people to enjoy meals with their family. And we have little platform stages within there to stay entertained throughout. It's going to be great. I've taken the feedback from citizens and from fellow employees and anyone that attended last year and the year before, and want to just make it that much more cohesive and more exciting this year. And we've had a lot of success marketing it this year as well. I created a Facebook page specifically for the event, as well as a website for that to give specific info just on the event. People are led there from the CRA website, and we're getting a lot of feedback. I've actually gotten a lot of calls, even from like Pompano, Broward County. We've got some from North County, so I think we've reached a little farther this year. I'm very anxious to see the turnout. I'm hoping you're all going.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Any special parking arrangements?
This would be the same as last year. I think we did all right with parking last year. We've got it surrounding pretty much on each end. I'm going to put maps on the website as well, and there'll be announcements on our Facebook where people can park. But I don't think there was a problem with parking last year.
Can I work the beer tent again?
Absolutely. We did switch things up a little bit with beer this year. We have a different distributor representing, and it's Brown's. So they have a lot of great craft beers they're bringing this year. A few local breweries actually will be represented. And we did get a radio personality to come there for a couple hours on Saturday. They'll be doing a live broadcast from a tent, or WRMF from Palm Beach Broadcasting.
Great.
Yeah. So I'm excited. We're tired, but it's a good tired, so I hope you all go. Saturday is 11 to 9, the extended version down to all the way to Federal, the extra part where the businesses are participating, that's till 9. And then Sunday's 11 to 7. And we did get a lot of businesses stepping up to participate this year, so.
It's this Saturday?
No, it's the 25th and the 26th, yeah.
25th and
So 11 to 9 on the 25th and 11 to 7 on the 26th.
Thank you.
We officially launched off our Movies in the Park season. If you recall, we extended it. We're starting earlier, both our concerts and our movies, and we're extending them a little later too. So we're going now from October to June. We had our first one was a Rain Out. We had a release that wasn't released on DVD yet, so we were hoping for a great turnout. And I think had the weather not been challenging, we would have gotten a great turnout, but it was Mr. Peabody and Sherman. So we did a rain date the following Friday, and we had about 60, 70 people attend. Our next one should be a good one. It's Maleficent with Angelina Jolie, and that did really well in the theaters. That date is scheduled for, I believe,
November 7th.
Yes. And then we're going to, December's a little spin on it. We've decided to move the movies to December 12th to tie into the holiday celebrations. Rather than it being the first Friday in December, we're doing the second, just so it kind of partners with the other holiday things we're doing. So we're going to pick a traditional, well-followed type of fun Christmas movie to play for that. And additional dates for movies in the park are January 2nd, February 6th, March 6th, April 3rd, May 1st, and June 5th. And we have our first concert kicking off this Thursday. We are featuring a band called Funkabilly Playboys. They were one of the groups that got rained out, unfortunately, last season, so we've invited them back. They have a really good following locally, so we're hoping to get a good turnout for that. There will be drinks available for purchase from Potions in Motion, is a little bar that I bring to the event. We are going to be doing a November 20th concert as well, and that is String Theory. It's another band that sadly got rained out last season, so we've invited them back. Additional dates are December 18th, January 15th, February 19th, March 19th, April 16th, May 21st, and June 18th. So,
Very good. Got a lot going on. Thank you.
all good.
Looks good. Thank you.
Thank you.
This takes us to consent agendas. Anybody wish to remove anything from consent? Hearing none. We approved the agenda, so all those items are approved. Takes us to public comments. None there. Oh yeah. There's anybody wish to address the board at this time on items not on the agenda? May do so at this time. We ask that you give your name and address to the record. Try to make your comments in 3-minute time period. Any items not on the agenda?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am Brother Victor Northus, live at 261 North Palm Drive, District 2. I'm up here today speaking on behalf of the Heart of Boynton Neighborhood Association. We will be having a fundraiser and remembrance service for Ms. Gertrude Sullivan. She was our president, and she recently passed about a year or two ago. Since her passing, we've gone on a little self-searching and trying to find out how we can better serve our community. So this is one of our first events since Ms. Sullivan passed. Ms. Sullivan was known as Cake Lady for her many cakes she baked for the church and friends and weddings. Many people didn't know that she worked in area restaurants like Booker T's, Soul Food, hospitals like Bethesda Memorial, cafeterias like St. John Missionary Baptist Church, cookouts, and many other non-profit fundraisers like, of course, the Heritage Celebration, which is canceled, and the Black Awareness Day, which also was canceled. Ms. Gertrude Sullivan was a longtime leader of the Heart of Boynton Community Association. Unfortunately, she left us and went to heaven in July 2012. But while living in Boynton Beach, she wanted and advocated positive changes in her Heart of Boynton neighborhood and city. She saw hopes raised and dashed during the decades she has lived in the Heart of Boynton, an area roughly bounded by Boynton Beach Boulevard and FEC Railroad Tracks 13th and Interstate 95. Most people within the area agree that the Heart of Boynton, Martin Luther King Boulevard, needs new businesses and homes to energize it. That is something that Ms. Gertrude Sullivan fought for and truly believed in. She will be remembered by us as a Christian woman, a loving mother, a caring neighbor, and a community leader. So I'm asking that yourselves and any other residents who would like to come out and celebrate and share your memories of Ms. Gertrude Sullivan. We'll be having an event Saturday, October 25th, from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the corner of Martin Luther King Boulevard and Seacrest. We'll be selling small stuff, like ribs, chicken, fish, and sandwiches, but it's mostly for the community to come together and to remember a wonderful woman that has been a great inspiration and motivation to many of us. Also, there were a couple other people that passed during this brief time. One of those, which all of us remember, is Ms. Lena Williams. She also was a renowned community activist and child care advocate in Boynton Beach. And also the late Reverend Lance Cheney, who left a legacy of service at St. John Missionary Baptist Church in the city of Boynton Beach. Because he was more than a pastor, he was a civic leader, an anti-violence activist with the ability to bring people together. So although this is mainly for Ms. Gertrude Sullivan, it's an opportunity for us to reflect on all the leaders that have passed and reflect on what we want to do in the future and how we should go. So again, I'm just asking you to come out and support us. And to come out, and if you have any comments or anything, we'll have a little platform so that people can get up and express themselves. Because whenever a leader passes, you have to have the time to reflect. But then once that time for reflection has passed, you have to get up off your butt and start doing something and leave them a legacy that will be forever remembered because we are the ones that will have to carry on. Thank you.
Would you give us the times one more time? I know it's October 25th. What was the times?
From 11 a.m.
11 a.m.
to 5 p.m.
Thank you.
I'll let you in the Heritage Park across the street from the Heritage.
No, it'll be across the street, right next to the little church. Thank you.
Thank you.
Victoria Castello, 406 South Street, Seacoast Boulevard. I do say everything that Victor said. Gertrude deserves this. In fact, whenever I think of Gertrude, I think of Harriet Gerber. She died in 1913. Said, when you see they run the dogs after you, keep running. When you see the flames, keep running. When you hear the shouts, keep running, because you want freedom. Don't stop until you get freedom. And that's what Gertrude was to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Items not on the agenda. Seeing none, we will close the public comments and move to old business.
Chair,
Yes.
if I may do an insertion at this point. The gubernatorial debate will be tomorrow, and I talked with the principal of Boynton Beach High School. He informed me that either one or both of them may stop by the Boynton Beach High School to that forum. That's what he said. I just wanted to relay that. So just another piece of information for your interest.
That different from the, there's a big one Thursday.
Yeah, but they're still going to be in the area.
So tomorrow the governor is going to be.
Right, and then Thursday is when
all
the high school is
candidates.
having theirs.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
they're planning to, according to Mr. Fred Baruch, I think I'm saying his name right.
Yeah.
He said they could schedule to stop by
Okay. Thank you.
Thursday.
Thursday. Oh, you said tomorrow.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, the gubernatorial debate is tomorrow, Wednesday. But the high school is having their forum on Thursday.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Other candidates. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. Did you look it up? The other one, tomorrow with the governors.
Right.
Okay, very good.
Wait, clarification. The concert is going to be held on Thursday as well?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's Wednesday.
The Medical Harmony will be entertaining Thursday around 7.
I read it, okay.
Around 7, yeah. Actually, the whole program starts at 4:30.
I do have some flyers here, so if you want to get a copy of
It
that.
starts at 4:30, and then Dimensional will come on. All the candidates will be there, so it'll be a lot of discussion, I'm sure.
Right.
Okay, next will be a presentation of the Business Development Marketing Campaign. Good evening.
Good evening, Tracy Smith Coffey, Boynton CRA staff, Marketing and Business Development. We started this campaign, we launched it with the tagline, Catch Yourself in Boynton Beach, balancing with a splash, you see it to the right of Catch Yourself in Boynton Beach, featuring water, to represent the marina. And we're looking to, with this marketing campaign, we're looking to attract a younger demographics to downtown Boynton Beach, to our events, and also to open new businesses. We do, in this campaign, we showcase the downtown businesses and with their unique assets, and we're trying to build a positive perception of downtown Boynton Beach. With this, we introduced a new concept for the movie night where we did videos. We featured 4 businesses in the downtown CRA district, and we played their videos before the movie started at the first Friday of every month for our movie night. We also had, to create a following, we had a raffle where with the businesses that were showcased in the video had to give us a gift certificate, and then we raffled that off to the moviegoers, and that has become a really big hit. I mean, people really come just for that raffle. It's really a nice feature for our movie night. We also created a YouTube page because we are trying to attract everything with social media, We have a Twitter account. We also have a Facebook account, which we do get a lot of hits on that as well. And that would be our Facebook page. We launched our new website not too long ago, and believe it or not, I pulled up the stats on it, and I told Vivian this evening, let me get them for you. The hits on our Pirate Fest is 4,331 hits. That means 4,000 people hit that on our website. As far as the last CRA board meeting was 2,270 hits. And another popular, Movies in the Park, 3,960 hits. So our website is doing a lot. I mean, it's really working for us. I'm really happy that it's easy to maneuver. A lot of people have commented and sent us messages. I actually get probably a week, I get 10 people joining our email list from our website. And that's pretty good too. We do this campaign for our local businesses, and we feature, it's a double page spread in the Boynton Forum, and there's 34,000 copies that are inserted in the Sun Sentinel, and we feature different businesses. We have a theme for each month. This, I think, is local businesses and services. I'm also doing a lot of ads in the Pineapple newspaper, which there are 20,000 papers monthly that are distributed all over. It's a free newspaper, and it's distributed into 500 locations. And we get a lot of response from that as well.
They use that locations, is Delray and Boca, any in Boynton?
Yeah, it's Delray, Boca, and
Well, back up, it's not up
Boynton.
there.
Let me go back, hold on. They do have distribution in Boynton and also Lake Worth. They just added that on.
It needs to be noted. Thank you.
So the individual ads that we get from the Boynton Forum, I also post those on Facebook to continue to promote our local businesses, and these are just some examples of the smaller ads from the Boynton Forum. As you can see around town, we have put banners. The Pirates banners are up now for Pirates Fest, and then these will go back up on Boynton Beach Boulevard, and we're working on a banner campaign now for Ocean Avenue and the Marina, which is a really big project. I just got the bids back today. Actually, yesterday was the deadline, and then we're going to move forward with that and have them up after Pirates Fest on Ocean, and then we're going to work on the Marina as well after that. And then this is the annual report. They all look the same as far as, all of our marketing strategies. We have the Catch Yourself in Boynton Beach. We have the Splash.
What was that gentleman up in the corner?
Go back. Okay, hold on. Okay, that?
Oh, yeah, we know.
Okay. This is our Marina brochure. This went out to 33 hotel concierges for our marina. It highlights our charters, the fishing charter, the diving charters, the jet ski rentals, and the boat rentals, and also the restaurants and marina bites. This is another thing that went to the concierge along with the marina brochure. It's little cards that talks about our restaurants, and it has their address and phone numbers for their guests, for them to make reservations. We won an award, as you know, in August for promotional poster category, first place, and that was just part of, and that's the article in the Sun Sentinel about the award. This is a Facebook offers and ads. I featured some of the local restaurants and what they offered, and people click on it to get their offer, and it created a lot of activity towards our website, our Facebook page, and also the business that was featured. This is our marketing partnership with Discover the Palm Beaches and Visit Florida. I am working with Eleanor Pressel in the city manager's office, and we're working on the tourism to promote the marina. These are our grant incentive brochures. I am working with the BDB. I put together some packets for businesses that come to the BDB and looking for places to open their business. And then we have our commercial brokers event. This was the invitation for the commercial brokers event. We did that last budget year. And then this was the follow-up postcard that talks about our grants and what we have to offer. We also do additional posters, postcards, email blasts, and digital displays on the I-95 for our events. This is all about the events. And when we do a project in the downtown, we do fence wraps to talk about what the project is, and it's another way to get the word out, create excitement. And this is basically... Okay.
Okay, on the billboard, are we advertising Pirate Fest?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Yep, that's going to be, there's the billboard on 95 over between 6th Avenue and 10th is up right now for the whole month for Pirates Fest. And then the one here in Boynton, it's going to be up, I think, this week or next week. So the overall picture of our marketing campaign is to create a positive image, which is very critical for revitalization. And we also want to build an experience with our events, and also, wanting people to come to our city and open a business, and so they feel comfortable. So this whole marketing campaign has really been around that, bringing business to Boynton, also creating an atmosphere for businesses and the existing businesses. So everyone's been pretty pleased. All the existing businesses have been happy with everything that's been, they've seen around town, banners, fence wraps, the marketing with the newspapers. So far, this budget cycle, we really are excited. We have some really great ideas for this next budget cycle. So, do you have any questions?
I think you're doing great on the marketing. I had one thought and question. On some of the printed stuff that you put out, the brochures, maybe notices, flyers, whatever, do you do any in Spanish and Creole?
No, I haven't done any in Spanish.
We have a really diverse population in Boynton. A lot of them, especially the Haitian community, tell me we don't ever know what's going on.
Okay.
And a lot of that because they don't read English, but they do read Creole. And so it's any way to maybe think about that.
Yeah, we can do that,
how we can do that
definitely.
for our Spanish.
I did that in Lake Worth when I was there.
That'd be great.
Okay, yeah.
Right. I just want to say thank you for, a job well done, but, I'm glad that you're utilizing the billboards because we got free advertisement there, and while the city manager is sitting here, maybe we could do the holiday parade. Thank you.
One other, if I may, we're doing great work here in Boynton with our CRA, and all of you are to be commended. At the Florida Redevelopment Association last week, or was it this week? Last week. I get confused. On the last day, they had each city that won awards to be recognized, and they gave presentations. Do you know the time frame for what the cutoff is? At October, or because I know that we should have been in the running. Okay.
Well, I think there is some You can't win every year, I don't think. That's
Yes, we can.
Yeah, well, not really. But I think the project has to be completed by June, I think.
Yeah, we missed it for this, because Vivian and I we talked about entering this in, and we missed it because some of our projects didn't fall in that time period. But this will definitely go for the next year. FRA awards, we're gonna submit for that. We did win last year for the Little House. So yeah, this will be part of the FRA submissions, definitely.
Hey, Tracy, when you market and business development, you got to target the CRA district. You got to stay in the confines of the CRA district.
Yes.
Do you market any properties that we own? Do you put out there like we own a couple of buildings and business opportunities?
Well, we do have that on our website. We have a page for that. It's under Open for Business.
Can we list our properties on that?
Yeah, we do. We have listed properties that are available, and also we talked about Vivi and I talked about a postcard going out for the available properties to the commercial brokers.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
Did that little show record you had with the commercial brokers, maybe about 6 months now, did we get any feedback? I know there's about maybe 20 of them there, commercial brokers that were at that. Did we get anything out of that, Commissioner?
I think basically what you're trying to do is to showcase what you have available, what incentives you have available, what the city's processes are, how quickly we do have turnaround on processes. We're very quick. You're trying to showcase how your city works and what we're doing. I don't think you're specifically going to get a deal, but you're going to get exposure. The idea is to get exposure. And it's a continual process. Marketing is a continual process. I think anyone who's a broker, and I see Bobby Albino out there, he knows how many times he has to show a property to get somebody. It's a constant process. We're not really brokers. We're really just trying to bring people here to get the brokers calls, to get them calls. And that's really what we're doing. That's our job, is to get the area exposure so the brokers get their properties listed and sold.
Any else? Thank you very much
You're
for the
welcome.
presentation. Thank you. Next item is consideration of approval of the Executive Director's Employment Agreement for fiscal 14-15 year 2014-2015. In the past meeting, we approved a 3% increase, and this is the legal document. Is there any motion?
Motion to
Second.
approve.
I have a motion, second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And all opposed? Show the motion is unanimous. Next item will be new business. Consideration of TIF agreement between Morgan Boynton Beach LLC and Boynton Beach CRA for the 500 Ocean Project.
Thank you, Chair. We have worked very diligently with LaSese, the developer, and they're developing this project under the name Morgan Boynton Beach LLC for 500 Ocean. Some of you may have seen this under different iterations, but this project, they came before us early in the year to talk to us about some gap financing, and we've gone back and forth, and I think we've come up with what I feel is a fair solution, fair to the public, fair to the developer. This is a good project. It's good for the downtown. There's 341 units here, residential units, that are rentals, which means the people will be living there 24/7. They're not going to be snowbirds, nothing wrong with that, but in other words, they'll be adding money to the local economy every day. They'll be eating here, using goods and needing goods and services every day. It's a project that I think will activate Ocean Avenue in a way that we've needed for a long time. One of the things that we wanted, we do need is some office space. We're dipping our toe in the office, and we asked them to add some office space here. which they did. They added 6,600 square feet of office on the second floor on Ocean Avenue. We also asked them if they could make this building a green building, build it to green standards, and they did say they could do that. It took them a while to do some calculations financially whether they could do that, and they came back and said that they could. And I think that's a benefit to the city with the city's green strategies that they've been working on for some time now and adopted through the strategic plan as well. And so I think it's a good fit for the city and the CRA. And with that said, I'd like to ask, John, are you going to do the presentation? Or?
I was going to work the PowerPoint.
Okay, you're going to work the clicker? Okay, well, Tom's going to do the presentation. Tom Hayden from Lacesse is going to do the presentation, and most of you know him. And John will work the PowerPoint. John Flynn.
Thank you. My name is Tom Hayden, 302 Southwest Square, Winter Park, Florida. I am the development director for Lacesse Development, and I think Vivian really articulated well the journey that we have been on since we first visited. And it's one that we now has brought us here in front of you all for one of the last pieces to bring this to fruition. But by way of background, because it's been a couple of months since we were here, the entity which is going to be building this is Morgan Boynton Beach, and it's a joint venture on our side between a very large apartment developer owner, Bob Morgan, and Lacesse Development, which is headed by Sal Lacesse. So there's a lot of years of experience with these two groups in building apartments. And together we ourselves have over 20,000 multifamily units, which we've been involved in and have developed. And then if we move to the Morgan Group, they own over 15,000 multifamily units, and they operate in 12 states. So it's a business that we're very, very familiar with, and it's one we have also been involved in mixed-use projects. One of the projects that we're involved in is in Richmond, Virginia, which won came in first place national award as the best mixed-use community in the country in, I believe, 2011. So we think this is going to exceed that. We're very excited by it. And as Vivian had said, we're moving to make this green, the building as green as we can. And in doing so, we've asked our green consultant to be here, Matt Zirkelbach, and he'll walk through the benefits that will be brought by bringing this building to a green state. So without further ado, here's Matt.
Just before you come, since you're saying that, y'all did such a beautiful job, y'all have any letters of testimony? I'm just saying, it's nice to hear you all say that, but anything in writing from these people that, you built these places for, you built them.
We built them.
They occupy them.
We have many thousands of happy residents. And I think the testimony is that with approximately 30,000 units, our occupancy levels are in the high 90s, which means that the people who live in here are obviously very pleased. They renew their leases and stay for 2, 3, 5 years at a time.
Okay,
so I think that's the biggest thing.
Let me rephrase the question then, okay? We're the CRA, that we give you our blessing. I'm just saying, would you have a letter of testimony from our CRA? I'm just saying, the companies that you work for, did they give you a letter of testimony that you all did such a fantastic job, anything like that? I'm not worried about who lives where.
Need you both to speak into the microphone so we can record this.
Oh, sure. When you say
A letter that said, okay, so that
who you work for?
Yeah, who you work for. Who you built the projects for, is that a letter
Well, we
of
built
testimony?
them for ourselves.
For
and
yourself?
for our investors.
Okay,
Yes.
so ones that you built like, okay, what I'm saying is like, give me an example where you built a building, a place.
The one we described in Richmond, Virginia.
All right, Richmond, Virginia. Anybody from Richmond, Virginia, the people that got they have a letter of testimony saying that you all did a fantastic job. That's what I'm trying to say.
Not that I don't think we typically see those. It's not something, what the testimony is in the performance of the property, and the true performance of the property is how it performs over a period of time.
He's looking for letters of recommendation, we don't have those, that's not part of this,
He
so
wants a plaque on the wall.
we just don't have them. No, that's not, he just asked for, sometimes you get people. Yeah.
Send them to him.
I didn't ask for it.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you all for the opportunity to be here. My name is Matt Zerkelbach, and I'm with Runbrook. We are a green building and sustainability consulting firm, and we're located in West Palm Beach, Florida. And we've done a variety of green building certification and verification projects throughout the state. We have certified a variety of projects, and I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about some of the green measures that we're putting into the 500 Ocean project in Boynton Beach. And what we're going to do today, basically, is we're going to give you a quick understanding of what the certification level that we're going for, and then we're going to give you a quick walk through the building and give you a little bit of an understanding of what some of the green building measures we're putting into the project. And then we're going to wrap up things by quantifying some of the economic benefit that the residents are going to receive out of our green building measures, as well as some of the community benefits as well from the project. So with that, I'd like to just start with this slide here. I'm going to stand on this side. Our firm, we do a lot of certifications for multifamily projects, and we have done it through a variety of different rating systems, such as the United States Green Building Council, the Florida Green Building Coalition, and the National Green Building Standard. What you see up here is the rating system that this project, the 500 Ocean project, is going to follow. It's called the National Green Building Standard. And what it does is it takes us through 6 different categories in terms of green building practices that we're all going to score points in for the project. As you can see on the slide here, we've got lot design, which basically the intent of this credit and the intent of what we're doing here is to maximize walkability, community walkability, recycling on site for construction. We also have resource efficiency. That's dealing with utilizing resources in the construction that have been recycled, have rapidly renewable materials. Then we've got energy efficiency, water efficiency, very self-explanatory. Finally, indoor environmental quality, which is basically making sure that the buildings that we build actually have good occupancy levels, good comfort, have clean air. So we'll be putting in energy efficient filters. And finally, we have operations and maintenance and homeowner education. So the purpose of this credit or this category is to make sure that once the building is built, the homeowners and the actual maintenance staff understand how to operate the building in the green building measures. So next slide. So here begins our tour. We're going to just walk you through some of the measures really quickly. And as you can see here, we've got a picture of the site plan. And if you take a look, we've got these numbered. So we've got number 1, lot design. We're scoring points in the rating system because the lot design is in a very dense area, obviously, since we're in the downtown area. And we have a lot of walkability issues that we're actually going to be able to accomplish in terms of being able to walk to retail spaces, have proximity to resources such as shopping, grocery stores, things like that. We also have resource efficiency. We're going to have a construction waste management plan on site. So when we're actually doing our construction, we're going to be separating building materials into different bins and making sure that we're recycling them, which fits into a lot of the climate action plan and sustainability goals that the city has established. Finally, we got lot design. We're going to be doing some permeable pavers to make sure that some of the rainwater runoff is actually filtering down through the soil, making its way into the groundwater instead of being diverted into the stormwater management system. Next slide. Okay, and this is just a quick example of some of the energy efficiency measures we're going to be putting into the building. As you can see, we have high performance insulation. So we're going to be putting insulation into the building and making sure that we're reducing heat gain and we're enabling the HVAC system to operate efficiently. Ductwork as well. We're going to make sure that ductwork is not leaking, things like that, which are not the most exciting things off the bat, but when you see at the end, these little measures that we're going to be putting into the buildings make a significant impact in terms of sustainability. Finally, what I think is very exciting about this rating system is all the work that we're going to be doing is going to be third-party verified, which means this is not a certification system where we tell you it's green and the rating agency says yes, okay. This is something where we're going to actually have site inspectors come on site, take a look at the building measures we put into place and give us a third-party verification. Now, this third party is not part of my team, it's part of an independent company that's gonna go out and give us the thumbs up or the thumbs down. And that's required to actually secure certification under this standard. So this is a very rigorous standard that we're pursuing. Next slide. Okay, and this is the outside, some of the facade features of the building. Energy efficient windows, a very important part of being green and sustainable. These are going to have, they're going to have hot, solar heat gain coefficients. They're going to keep heat out of the building. We also are going to use recycled content block in a lot of the structural foundation of the building and the walls. Resource efficiency. We're even going to do things like when we're actually framing things like the roof. We're going to actually get some of them pre-formed so that we're minimizing waste and we don't have to throw as much away. And finally, we've been investigating a tankless natural gas hot water heating system, which is extremely energy efficient. It's actually going to reduce a lot of the water use that the building is going to use over time. Next slide. Just a couple last slides to get inside, taking you inside the individual units. You can see that the appliances are going to be Energy Star. Energy Star is a rating of all appliances that the Environmental Protection Agency gives, so you can actually buy these Energy Star appliances, which basically means they have very energy efficient, operating. They operate energy efficiently. Water efficiency is going to be a very big component of the project. We're going to have low flow faucets, lavatories. We're going to have the low flow water closets. All those things are going to save a lot of water throughout the project. Again, we spoke about the tankless natural gas hot water heater. And finally, energy efficiency, lighting, and fixtures. We're not just putting energy efficient lights in, the fixtures will all be wired so that so the lights have to be LED or CFL in most cases. So that's another important feature of the project, and lighting is a very big energy draw. We're tackling energy very, very aggressively. Next slide. So you're all looking at me, great. What does all this mean? So what I try to do is put this slide together to kind of give you a benchmark to compare how the individual units, and when we certify this project, we're going to be looking at the individual units as being certified. So we're actually going to certify and verify all 341 units in the property. So if you take a look here, this is called a Home Energy Rating Index, HERS Index. And what it does, it tells you how efficient an individual home is across the national average, okay? And what we have here is, if you can see, a new standard home that will be constructed around this time, according to the local building codes, will receive a score of 100. Now, at the top of this index is the most energy-consuming, non-green building that you can have. That's a high score. It's bad, like golf. You don't want to have a high score in golf. But you want to have a low score in golf, and that's a zero energy home. So that's a home that's almost off the grid, not a lot of energy use. And what we've done is we said, okay, well, the new standard home is 100, and we were able to run some energy models based on what the project's designed to. And this project will be scored at 62, which is roughly 38% better than the standard home at a 100. So when you're looking at this index, obviously this is going to be, each individual unit is going to be more energy efficient than the standard home throughout the United States. But really the most exciting thing for the green guys like me is how this accumulates over the entire project, because we're not just looking at one home, we're looking at 341 homes. So next slide. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to look at is, number one, economic importance of this green building project. As you can see in this table here, what we did is we took a look at the standard home utility bill. That was the number 100 that you saw in the index. And then we said, okay, if we look at our homes that we're building to a green building standard for the National Green Building Standard, we actually have two different utility bills, and then we have a savings. So you can see monthly per tenant, $16, which is not a lot of money per tenant, but when you look at the percentage of the energy bill, 18%, that's quite a significant difference. Now, what happens is that's just a month, so you multiply that out by 12 months in a year, that number grows. And then when you actually multiply that by 341 units, the numbers start to expand. And finally, over the long term of the project, we were asked to kind of take a look at this and how it would affect economics over the long term, 10 years. We forecasted out that the utility savings for all residents would be roughly $654,720. And essentially, this is not even factoring rises in utility rates, things like that. So the investment in green building, number one, is going to have a great environmental impact, but it's also saving your residents dollars in their utility bills. So next slide. Okay. So what does this mean? In terms of the community emissions reductions, I know that the city has put together a great climate action plan, and there's actually a goal to reduce carbon emissions from the community. And this is actually, you have two different goals. You have a municipal operations carbon reduction goal, and you have a community carbon reduction goal. This project would fall into community reductions. If you take a look at this, if you kind of calculate this over 10 years, we're going to be saving roughly 308 metric tons. So what does that mean in carbon? Well, we put some equivalencies so you can kind of get an understanding what that means. It's the emission from driving roughly 904,762 miles. So that's a pretty good impact when you're looking cumulatively at the project. It's also equivalent to emissions from burning 408,000 pounds of coal. It's a pretty good number as well. And I have to apologize, there's a little typo down there. But what that's supposed to say is the emissions from sending 136 tons of waste to the landfill, which is also an environmental benefit. And finally, one that I like is it's equivalent to the amount of carbon that's sequestered by 136 acres of U.S. forest in a year. So all these little equivalencies were put together to help you kind of understand some of the environmental impacts that this green building project is going to produce. Okay, and then we did this also for water, because I know water and energy efficiency are big important topics. We did a very similar analysis here, where we looked at what a standard home water usage would be versus the design home, using the low flow fixtures and faucets and Energy Star appliances. And we're going to actually be saving roughly 31 gallons per resident. But again, once you multiply this out by a year and then by the amount of residents in the entire project, it's a significant savings. So we're saving roughly 38 million gallons of water over 10 years, which again, that's a great savings when we're talking about water conservation. And I know water conservation is a big part of the climate action plan that the city of Boynton Beach has put together. And finally, the last slide here. And what is that equivalent to? Well, it's the amount of water needed to fill roughly 58 Olympic-sized swimming pools, or the amount of annual water used by 265 families of four. So just to try to put those numbers into perspective, I'm really proud to be part of this project because I think it's one of the things where you don't necessarily think a low-flow fixture is exciting or energy-efficient installation is exciting, but like I said, I'm the green guy on the team, and when I hear those numbers and I look at the cumulative impact of the project, it is very exciting. I think it's going to have, obviously, a very positive impact on residents and the community as well. So that said, I'd just like to open it up with any questions that you all might have. Yes, sir.
This is not a question, this is an observation.
Yes.
Okay, at your National Green Building Standards where you have all your LD, RE,
Yes.
EWD, okay, where you got O&M, okay, operation and maintenance, you need to put that on there. If that fall in the hand of John Doe, don't know anything about this.
Yes.
I didn't know what the real O&M was.
I understand. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
What type of insulation are you using? Is it like isonine or foam like that?
Well, when we're talking about the roof is actually a non-conditioned space. We're going to be using, it might be isonine or foam, but it's actually an R21 insulation, and it might be a rigid insulation. So it won't be foam, it'll actually be a rigid backed insulation, which is going to be put on the roofs. Now we're also going to have insulation on the CMU block walls as well. So you're going to have the block wall, and then you're going to have an insulation layer there as well, which basically is helping the envelope become tighter and reduce, heat loss and heat gain.
Board Member Fitzpatrick?
Who developed the National Green Building Standard? I haven't really heard of it before.
Right. Well, it is it's from the Home Innovation Labs, and it's a very similar organization to the United States Green Building Council, and it is being more widely used throughout South Florida and the state of Florida, and it's actually one of the only consensus green building standards that's been approved by the American Standards Institute. So it's very similar to LEED, but it's actually been approved by the American Standards Institute as a consensus green building standard. And it's very rigorous, very similar to LEED, where you have to go out and verify each individual unit. But we've done probably about 6 or 7, just our firm alone, with National Green Building Standard, and I know a lot of other cities are using it as well.
If this was LEED scoring, where would you be at?
If it were LEED scoring, I would say we'd be roughly equivalent, and some argue this is a little bit more stringent, so we'd roughly be at silver as well. So The goal with the National Green Building is standard is silver, and in my estimation, we would be roughly to silver as well, if not better through LEED.
Did you have something you wanted to add?
We had John Flynn, Necessity Development, 650 South North Lake Boulevard, Altamont Springs. We have one additional slide beyond the green standards. If there are any other questions on the green aspect of it, has more to do with economics and comparing markets, which I know was a question that came up prior as to the difference between rents and demographics, mostly income, median home values, and rents between Boynton Beach compared with Delray and Boca Raton, which we've put this slide together to kind of help illustrate that. And you can obviously see that there is a difference between those. And that is part of the reason why we are here looking to work with the CRA for the TIF, is to help fill that gap. And this is really the reason for the gap. The cost to create the building we're building is really the same whether we're in Boca or Delray or in Boynton Beach. And so, again, this kind of help illustrate those differences. We put this together for your review.
Thank you. Yes.
My question to you is, to both of you, you mentioned a score of 100, then you mentioned that we're at 62. You mentioned different factors. Out of ignorance, are these, what you're doing, let me rephrase that, what you're doing, is it required by law to do this? Or is it out of your own initiative to add on? For example, you buy a car, what makes a Mercedes different than a Chevy? You add on different features, therefore the costs go up. Are you putting in these features, and I'll use that word, wrong word, I know, but are you putting these features in as a selling point? Is it required by law to do, etc.?
Yeah. Well, there's two parts to that answer. The first is,
certainly in this environment, the idea of a green building enhances the marketing. So there's absolutely truth to that. People are much more environmentally conscious than they were years ago. And when you look at the slides as Matt had shown, when people understand that they're going to be saving 18% on their electric bill and saving money on their water bill, it's those kinds of things that really assist us. So it's one of those decisions that we make that says, sure, there is a cost with it. But when we take away the cost and the benefit, we think in the final analysis that this, in the long term, is going to be beneficial for not only us and our marketing, but also in achieving the goals of Boynton Beach. In the long discussions we've had with Vivian, she's articulated how important and how Boynton wants to take the lead on being green. So we think it's a good mix by doing it.
It's a good selling point.
It is a good selling point, absolutely.
And is it, again, the second part of my question is, what part of what you're offering is not just an accoutrement, is it required to do this?
Yeah, and I think the answer to that is everything that we're doing, the way we get scored is based on going above and beyond code. So that's how we do it. We have a baseline, which is traditional standard build. We saw the standard build.
No,
that's tradition.
You had 62, and the reason this posed a question in my mind, what makes you, how do you get to 42 if that's better, or 32, and that's...
Yeah, we're doing better than what code tells us to do.
Thank you.
No, the answer is they're not required, but we ask them to get more green. And, the staff asked them to go green. That's what's happening. It does help the market build it, but it's not required.
Originally was the building, we weren't doing green on this building. Originally,
Yes, that is correct. It wasn't green in the strictest sense, but there are certain facets to the building which, by their nature, are energy efficient. And the codes require us, the insulation in the roof, for example.
my point, Tom, is that originally it wasn't green, and through some real, you said long, I think more contentious negotiations between your company and Vivian, you guys came around as a developer, and you should be commended on that, because I think it's a great fit for both Boynton and this development.
And we agree.
Mr. Buchanan, did you have?
Yeah, I have one more question. I find your artist rendering very attractive, the color palette in particular. Is that an accurate representation of the colors you anticipate using, or is that all caused by shadows? In fact, it's an evening representation.
We in fact had worked with Vivian on a color palette, and so I'm not sure the color, when it's copied on a color copier, it comes out as well. But we have worked with city staff and with Vivian to get the colors that we think are going to be, that we'll all be very, very proud of.
Okay, Chair? Yes? Board Member Hay.
Matt, you mentioned a third party that will be doing the evaluation for the green and all that kind of stuff. Can you share with us any other developers or LLCs that company has dealt with?
The third party verifier? Yeah. Actually, this third party verifier that we're going to use has probably done over 500,000 square feet of verification within the state of Florida. And we've worked with them in a few projects in the past. Just to share with you a couple actual specific projects. We've got one where it's called the Anchorage, which is actually National Green Building Standard, and that one's located in Miami. We've also got one, the Bridges at Kendall, which is actually the National Green Building Standard Silver certification. So that's just two examples of multiple projects in the South Florida area that have been third-party verified to the National Green Building Standard through this particular contractor that we're going to work with.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, excuse me,
yes.
so that's what I was talking about, like that was a testimony, sir, what he just said about that third party. Okay.
Okay, we got it. Does anybody in the public wish to comment on this project? Please come forward. You gotta come along, give your name and address. No, come forward to the mic. You can't talk. Okay. Wait till you get your mic, give your name and address. We gotta record you.
Just hearing it and seeing it.
We gotta record you. Please talk in the mic.
Okay. Victoria Costello, 406 South Seacrest Boulevard. We had some projects here, like the Promenade and Love and Thomas, and they weren't really pedestrian friendly, meaning setback. I don't know the plans, but I know when I go to Del Rey and I go to their establishments, some of the most prosperous ones had buildings on top, but inside people were able to walk around, and if you opened something, it was pedestrian friendly. I mean, you know, you can see where the businesses at Promenade, the former Promenade, aren't going. And Love and Thomas too. I mean, even the restaurants, it's just that small space. So I haven't seen that, but I would hope they would address that.
No, well, we're not addressing it tonight because this is not site plan review. This is just strictly whether we're going to go with the TIF. So when it comes in for site plan, we'll look at that thing. But tonight, the item on the agenda is the TIF agreement.
Okay.
So if there's nobody else in the audience, I'll go back. Any other question on the board? I would just like to comment and say that I've gone through this, and I can tell you that I can't tell you how long I've waited for this to happen. You know, for me, this is going to be a catalyst for downtown Boynton Beach. When this comes, it's just going to, I think it's going to trigger a lot more development and finally show that we're finally doing something in our downtown. I would like to ask if this goes through, and I know you got to go through the process of site and all that, what is your estimate of when you would break ground and start coming up with this project if we approved all this?
Mayor, we are planning to start the project in the spring.
In the spring?
Yes, sir.
Very, very good. Thank you. Well, I could, like I say, I'm very excited about it. I think it's a real catalyst for downtown. I'm much in favor of the project, and I'm going to be voting for this. I think it's very good.
Tom, if we okay this TIF, can you guarantee us that you will be there at the end, you'll be there at the finish, with Morgan, Boynton Beach behind when we start turning keys? Or is this, I guess some of our fears, or my fear, was that at some point we give the store away in some cases, for lack of a better word, to get these projects coming out of the ground. And we make nice, neat little packages. And those in turn are then flipped to another developer for whatever reasons. Can you give us a guarantee, or your word, be good enough for me, that you'll be there when we start turning keys to this project?
Hopefully I'll wake up in the morning. I mean, but as far as Morgan Boynton Beach goes, this has been a long journey.
Sure has.
And we are in the business of developing communities. We are particularly proud of this one and the cooperation that we have had with Vivian and the city staff in bringing this together. And if I have anything at all to say about it, we will be here at the end.
Okay.
I will be here at the end.
Marker?
Yes. Well, number one, I thank Vivian Brooks for dotting the I and crossing the T. But not to sound offensive to your statement, I didn't get a declarative answer by what Vice Mayor Casello asked. In other words, if I understand what you said, Vice Mayor, was the fact that you're not going to flip it. He asked for a guarantee. I believe this should be part of the agreement. Not talking about your company per se, but the project, I agree with the mayor, I agree with Vice Mayor Casello, and probably everybody else. The project itself looks well, but unless the developer is there at the end, you never know what goes. So that's what I was waiting to hear, emphatic and indubitably and definitely yes, which I didn't hear.
Like many of us, I have partners that I report to, and standing here in front of you, they have not voiced their opinion.
So therefore, you'll come back and give me that declarative answer.
Well, Vivian, I think you might be able to address this. Don't we have something in the TIF agreement about occupancy?
There's no agreement here tonight. We're just bringing this forward to you. Basically, the discussion between your staff and their staff, and for direction to move forward. That's all that's on the table tonight. And my suggestion to you, if that's your concern, is basically you just say that the ownership of this LLC, Morgan Boynton Beach LLC, it stays in the same ownership. Mr. Lassese, Mr. Hayden, Mr. Grosh, that it doesn't change, Mr. Morgan, and that until CO is issued. And you can say that, and that could be a condition of this TIF, and that's really not a long time. It's only, if you're gonna break ground in spring, then you get a CO in 18 months, 24 months after that, I guess, give or take.
I could add that one of the, included in your recommendations, Vivian, was that the agreement would be signed at the closing of the construction loan. And at that point, the construction loan, the partners would be signing on the construction loan as well. So in a manner of speaking, it would be a guarantee that they would be around to the end at that point. So in fact, because of the timing of the agreement, that is, it would only be signed at closing. If we were to sign the agreement tomorrow, for example, that would be different. But in this case, everything will be done, and we would be prepared to break ground before that agreement is actually executed. And so that, I think, gives the assurances that you would need that we would stay in the deal.
Till the end.
Oh, absolutely. At that point, once we close on the construction loan, we're there till the finish of the job.
That's when this will become effective. Yes.
Yes, and that's what Vivian has in her recommendation.
Yeah, we understand once it's rent stabilized, you're gonna sell it. We understand that part. They understand that part. We've discussed that, so.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Before we even offer a motion, I'd like to hear from our council, how that motion needs to be worded before we even try to word it so that everybody be on the same page. Hello, council?
Legal.
What all do you want in there?
We want what Vivian said, but
Wait,
and what he just said. So
I think what we want to say, if there's a motion, that the motion would be that we are approving the TIF agreement and that it would be tied to the signing and become effective at the closing of the construction loan.
Second motion.
I'll make that motion. Okay, now you can second it.
I'll second it.
I have a
I
motion
have
and
a
a second.
I still have more discussion.
Go ahead.
Way back, I don't know how many months ago, Vivian sent you a list of direct incentive funding program required documentation, and my understanding is you didn't come up with most of it. And why was that? It says 1, operating pro forma, 2, development pro forma, 3, construction loan commitment letter, 4, permanent loan commitment letter, 5, proof of equity, 6, copy of real estate contract or deed for site, 7, market study, 8, entity ownership documentation.
Okay? Why don't we go through them one by one?
Okay, operating pro forma, did we get that?
Yes.
See, okay, my problem with that is I don't know much about it. It's an Excel spreadsheet. I mean, you know, numbers can be massaged to show pretty much anything you want. There's nothing behind it showing that landscape cost or form work or whatever is going to cost a certain amount, showing that you need a TIF. I mean, you know, somebody can put some other numbers showing you don't need any. So that's kind of, to me, kind of shaky. What about development pro forma? Is that the other half of the Excel?
Yes.
Okay, construction loan commitment letter?
At this point, we are working towards a construction loan commitment letter.
Was that communicated to you?
Yes, they told me they were working on one.
So what's that mean? We don't do this till we see a construction letter?
What the motion just was is that we don't even enter into an agreement. There's no agreement until they actually sign a construction
Till the
loan.
loan closes.
That means that
that was
there's
in the
no
motion.
project.
All right, so that's permanent loan commitment letter, same thing?
Permanent loan would be, their perm loan docs would probably be.
Oh, I see, construction loan, and who's
Yeah.
actually gonna hold paper in the long run? So,
Equity, I don't know. Equity,
so-
I don't know.
if you don't even have a construction loan commitment letter, you can't really have one of those either, can you, or can you? Unlikely.
No, not likely.
Not likely, okay.
Not likely.
Proof of equity,
Don't have that.
and what's that exactly?
That's the partners who are putting the equity funding into the deal.
So, what about proof of equity?
We can get information to you, Vivian, on the proof of equity.
Well, she asked for it 6 months ago. If you're in such, needed this money so badly, why didn't you, have this discussion 6 months ago?
In this case, because generally speaking, asking for the information of these investors is one that they don't easily disclose. And so in this case, they will disclose it I would say they would disclose it before closing.
But after we vote? I mean, you're asking for a government handout. I mean, if you go for Medicare, you gotta fill out all these forms. What's the difference?
Well, ours doesn't become effective unless we get that stuff done.
Well, is that in the motion? The
Yes.
proof of equity?
Yes, it's in the motion.
Condition of approval.
Yeah.
It was in the motion. This is all tied to the construction.
If they don't get the construction loan,
Nothing
they don't
happens.
get the TIF.
Well, what I'm saying is, how come you made it so difficult for her, and then the copy of real estate contract, I mean, you already have one of those, how come you couldn't show her that?
We did.
No, I don't have that.
Happy to show you that.
Well, how about the market study that you're basing this on? Did you see that?
No, I haven't seen your market study. Do you
Well,
have-
we did send, yes, we did. We sent comps
No,
to you.
unless it was in that,
We have done a market comp survey that had been sent to you.
unless it was in that bound document, I don't know. Was it in that printed document?
I don't know if it was in that printed one or one of many emails that were sent.
And then the other thing was the entity ownership documentation. Did you
That
get
I printed off myself, that I have, that's the.
Okay. See, my problem is, I'm, still new at this. I've been here 18 months, so we had a Chamber of Commerce taste the Boynton thing. So I was talking to some of the people there who were all successful businessmen, and I explained the situation, and they all kind of laughed and thought this was just, a way to go for, a few extra bucks. And I don't see any hard evidence that you really need our money.
Well, I think the last chart he gave us here was trying to explain why they need the gap, where the gap was. And if you look at, in this thing they hand out here, it shows the gap part here. And I will tell you that we did the same thing with the Seabourn Cove and with Casa Costa. In fact, the tip there was actually a little bit more than what we're doing on this project.
Okay.
I just, to the director and the legal department, are we comfortable, both of you comfortable, what we're gonna vote on here tonight? Is making this go to the next step? Is the yes or no?
My comfort level is there if they've got a construction loan to build this.
Well, nothing's gonna happen until they get that loan anyway, so that's the catalyst.
We're not on the line until they.
All right.
Mr. Chair, I do have
Yes.
one question for Vivian. On your list of recommendations, number one is if it's executed simultaneously with closing the construction loan, and that obviously is in the motion. In the motion, is your second and third recommendations in there also, that the LLC does not change ownership till the project receives a CO, and that no major modifications to the project made without prior CRA board approval? Are those
No,
both?
those were all my recommendations.
As of now, those recommendations are not in the motion.
Okay, I'd like to make a substitute motion
Okay.
that includes those last 2 points.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
A second.
I think Board Member Costello had asked about legal counsel's comfort too. Except for the questions that Mr. Fitzpatrick has raised, if those are also elements of what you want to see before executing the document, then that ought to also be in the motion.
Aren't those, though, isn't the lender going to make sure that all that stuff's in place? And so, I mean, to me, if they've got construction loan, that pretty much takes care of everything, except those last 2 points of the change in ownership and the major modifications without prior CRA board approval.
Well, are we backing our CRA director or not? I mean, she made these requests 6 months ago, and she's been jerked around for 6 months. So I think they should be included in there, because what message we want to send that, we try to play nice and people don't answer. It's just like, we're going to ignore that because we don't feel like answering it. And it's like, so I think they should be in there.
I understand, what I was understanding, he said we would provide it.
Why didn't he provide it 6 months ago?
Well, he did himself.
I know, well, I'm saying the next one that comes down the road should understand, don't jerk Vivian around like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's irrelevant for now.
Get your.
All right, and one other point is, on this, the amount of the TIF, does it change with a potential change in millage? I mean, suppose things work out, we can drop the millage 2/10. Does their TIF money drop 2/10 too?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Okay.
And just for point of clarification, am I correct, though, in assuming that all these things that you requested, those requests are actually sort of made moot once, if they get into
Yes,
construction?
I understand that when we started this whole process, we were thinking we were going to do a TIF agreement back then. Now, I'm saying if we do it this way, the bank has said this is a marketable project. The bank has said this is a marketable team. This is a bankable team. They have done things that are for the public that we've asked them to do. They have done, this is basically a P3 project, is what this is. And when we talk about P3s, this is what this is. It's a public-private partnership. We've asked them to do elements that they didn't necessarily want to do, which is office, which very likely will not be filled right away, and they'll be carrying that for a while. But for the future of the downtown, I think it's important to have some of that. They also did green elements that they had not considered doing at the beginning because it's important to the city and the future of the city. So that's how come it's a public-private partnership. And so we sort of shifted, and the way you guarantee that we're not going to be out on a limb here, not knowing what's going to happen, is you don't execute until they're executing the documents. And you just say, we want to make sure you're still our partner when this project goes to completion. That's all.
Very good. All right, let's go ahead. I want to get this to
Let me say
end.
what-
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll make it fast. So what you're saying is very simple, and what you're saying is very simple, is that there's several points that are in the procedure has to be accomplished. So the first is to get this going. The second is that you'll confirm at the right time that the finances are there and whatever other requirements. So it's part A, part B, part C, and whatever it is. And if they don't fulfill it, then the contract is null and void because it has to be agreed by both parties.
Board Member
Simple
Casello.
contract definition.
Just point of information, Mr. Mayor, that we have to make a motion to get these 3 items here into the TIF agreement here.
We'll be bringing back an agreement before you at a later date. But obviously it's not.
It's in the substitute motion.
I included in the motion. Go ahead.
Question of Vivian. I don't feel they've made the case that they've proven that they need the money, but in your opinion, are you comfortable that they need the money?
I'm comfortable that they need the money because the rents are not quite here yet, and yet the construction costs are high now because of the demand for contractors. So I think that's why you'll see in the backup that it's stacked 75 for the first 4 years, and it goes down. So that's the reason, to help the rents get up, and then we get out.
There's also more cost to going to a silver green level. There's more cost in construction. So I do have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So the motion is unanimous. Bring us a development.
Step 1.
Thank you.
I can't check that bullet in now.
Okay, next item. Consideration of entering into an exclusive listing agreement with the firm of Crakes and Company for the CRA-owned property at 480 East Ocean Avenue.
Thank you, Chair. We are looking again at the 480 East Ocean, which is a historic property owned by the CRA, sitting on CRA land, city land. This property is a key property. It is unfortunately not on a major thoroughfare. It is a unique property. It does have a grease trap, but it doesn't have a hood yet. And last time we've done 2 RFPs on this property, and we only got 2 responses each time we did it. And I think that's not really, I don't think that gives you a good broad understanding of what's out there. And I think we can do better. Yes, it's a fee to pay somebody to do that.
What did you say, Liv?
It doesn't give us a good broad understanding of what kind of businesses would be interested in this property. We basically putting a sign on Ocean Avenue, which is where this property is located, off of Federal, it's not going to do anything. And us putting some ads in different publications is not really reaching the core group that we need to get to. Mr. Praxis' group has done a lot of bars and restaurants in Palm Beach County. His firm is, if you Google restaurant broker, bar restaurant broker, pretty much his name is the only one that comes up. Mr. Praxis we purchased a liquor license years ago from a strip club on South Federal to enable that strip club to be removed from the city. And he sold it for us at a very good price in the recession. So we have some experience with him, and he's done a good job for the CRA in the past. And he's been to the properties, and he feels confident that he can find competent, good operators for both of them. These are only 90-day listings. They run concurrent with the RFPs on the properties. And I think that, to me, those properties are key properties. We don't have a lot of retail space on Ocean Avenue. So to me, what we do have, I think it's critical to get the right concept and the right operators there. Very critical. And no offense, but I'm not that educated in the restaurant field. I didn't grow up in it. I don't know that much about it. I know some about it, but we don't have the broad reach to, Broward, all of Palm Beach County. So I think using a professional in this instance is worth the money and to do it.
Sure.
Parker, then we'll come over here.
Vivian, and my understanding that it's a percentage he's working on, it's not a straight income he's working on. So if it goes down, he makes nothing.
Right, if there's nothing, there's nothing. A commission is like any other real estate deal, it's a commission. And there is a flat fee, of course, if there's, it's a very low deal, there is a flat fee of $10,000.
But the point is, if there is no sale, there is no...
Right.
It's like what I work on. If I don't make the sale, you
Right.
don't get a dime,
Right.
and that's the key.
If there's no
Okay.
concept that is financially viable presented to this board, then there's...
Okay. Then there's no money
Right.
coming. You're not writing a check.
Right.
That's simple.
I'm a little disturbed there, what you said there, if there's a concept presented. If they bring in, let's say we hired this guy and he brings in a person that wants to lease this building and we don't want that, does that mean that he still gets the permission?
We have to have somebody that is financially able to do the project. In other words, they have to prove that they have financials. That's in the RFP. They have to have the financial backing to do it, and that's...
I understand that. That's
Right.
not my question. My question is, let's say that they brought in, and this is just wild thing. No, I'm not going. But let's say they brought in a store that wanted to do medical marijuana, and we're for that, but that ain't where we want it. That's not the location. But they got the money. They can afford to do it, and we say, but we don't want it there. Does he still get the commission?
I
Because he
would
brought in
say
a viable person.
what we can do is we can add in a list of things that we will not accept there. If that's it, and I think that would be totally fine, because in this instance, particularly in this instance, we know what things we don't want. We don't want, for sure, certain things. There's, just like in our list of economic development grants, there's a whole list of things we will not fund. That's probably the same list we could add to Exhibit A on his listing agreement, because I would not recommend funding a vapor store or those kind of things, or encouraging anything like that.
Mr. Simon.
Mike Simon, Assistant Director of the CRA. I don't know how in depth Vivian's taken the terms of the negotiation with Practice, but it is certainly within the owner's right to say that a commission to any broker or agent, just like you would with your home, is not entitled to commission or any compensation if you do not agree or sign a document that you've entered into that. A commission isn't, or a fee isn't generated by just bringing you someone and then leaving the deal. The commission is based on the successful
Unfortunately, that's not
negotiation.
what the backup says here.
I'm just suggesting if it is, you can add that too.
Because this stinks. This whole thing, if anybody read this stinks. Let me just read you the next paragraph. Notwithstanding the foregoing, if owner fails or refuses to consummate a lease with the leasee procured or presented to the owner during the term of this agreement, who is ready, willing, or able to lease the property on the terms and conditions outlined in Exhibit A. That means if somebody brings somebody and you say, no, that's not what we want, just what you talked about, are here to, broker shall nonetheless be entitled to payment by owner of a commission equal to 3% of the base lease rental amount for the full term of the proposed lease. So that means if you bring someone to us and we say no, he's getting 3%, regardless. That's what this says here.
That's what that says now.
Okay? Let me read you a little more here. Let me read you a little more here. Now, if property is sold or leased by owner or for owner within 1 year after termination of this agreement, that means after we terminate this agreement with this gentleman, okay, to purchase a leasee with whom either owner, broker, or any other real estate licensee communicated regarding the property during the period of broker's exclusiation, broker shall be entitled to the full sale of lease commission as the case may be, as set forth above. So that means even after a year after this guy leaves us, we're still tied into him for commission. This stinks.
You can negotiate a consultant's fee, which is what I think Vivian had intended, whether
This is not it.
whether the broker agreed to that or not.
This
That
is
was
not it.
Vivian's additional intent.
When you're an agent, if you sign an agreement with somebody and somebody, after your agreement's over and they sell the house to somebody you brought, do you get your commission?
Well, typically, if it's someone that you have listed on the listing agreement as someone you've already worked for in the past, and you wanted to exclude them from the potential of having to pay because you've already begun negotiation with them, then you would write those exclusions.
That's the opposite.
You can give a term of how long that duration would last. You can say 90 days, you can say 120 days. Typically, I have to say, with commercial properties of this nature and this value to your company, I don't think any of you or I would want to sell by owner a commercial property worth $1 million based on someone coming to you and saying, I want to open a restaurant as individuals. I think this company, the CRA, is in a similar position. We have a very high profile investment property that we should rely on professional services of a commercial broker similar to a home. You'd want to rely, typically, I would suggest, that you have either an attorney representing you at the contract or market and sale of your property, negotiating with the other realtor, representing you in that process. Now, there are agents that work on consulting fees, there are individuals that could handle the analysis of what's coming in, but what it does is it filters out the responsibility for you. The realtor brings to you contracts, interested parties, people that you condition to say they need to have loan approval, they need to have experience, they need to have a track record, they need to have open through, whatever the conditions are. As the owner, you put in that listing agreement, just like excluding a refrigerator, anything that you want to be represented in your ownership to the public is what you do. That's the essential reason for having a broker. Now, every agreement you cannot be happy with. I mean, there are elements of those listing agreements that are very commonplace in negotiating. Some agencies charge more than others. Some do different performance standards than others. This is what's presented to you. And just like as an owner of your property, you can negotiate that to within the lines in which someone says, I don't want to be part of it. But you certainly, I think in this case, have the ability to say, we don't like this.
Exhibit A is, we have to fill out Exhibit A. What do you want Exhibit A to say? What do you want to exclude or include in Exhibit A? No, that's not Exhibit A.
We have to, you got that point across. Okay.
Can I say something, please? I agree with Michael, if I heard correctly, and I hear with Vivian, that this is a specialty area. We're not in New York City where people are searching for room for restaurants. I believe, and I said this earlier, a time frame has to be defined. 3, I think it's our responsibility, maybe the CRA board, the city commission, whatever, is to define what we want and what we do not want. And then, as far as the time frame of the gentleman or woman making a commission, obviously that has to be defined. It also has to be both parties. The party who is buying may also be interested in his thoughts, his professionalism. So the specialist part is the part I personally agree with, and then just define it a little more. I mean, it's a business deal. It's what happens in any dealings with commission.
That's Patrick.
This contract is his contract. Do we sign those kind of contracts, or don't we rewrite our own contract?
No, this is his, and we can change it. It's in Word format, so it can be changed. It's Mr. Practice is here, so you can talk to it. Like Mike said, these are negotiable things. It's 2 listings, and I think Mr. Practice can get up and speak to you if you'd like. And I took a lot of stuff out of there, just so you know. You can ask him, Mr. Practice, would you be okay with taking out if we sell the property in a year? Would you exclude that from there, or would you take a partial? Now, the thing is, if we sell the property to someone that he brought to the table, usually, I think in most cases, they would like to get a commission on that, but I don't know if he wants the full commission, if he already got commission on bringing him to the table. I don't know, Tom. How do you feel about that?
Well, let's, wait a minute, let's let you.
Right, Mr. Chair.
The other commission, then I'll come back in.
Right, since he is here, I think the best way for us to go now is to hear from Mr. Practice.
Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I did have a question. I'm all in favor of getting outside help, but my initial understanding when I read this is that whoever is brought to us has to do an RFP, and we still have to accept that RFP. Is that not correct?
They have to bring a proposal, and Mr. Practice is going to be their contact. The cone of silence is going to apply under the RFPs to staff and the board.
Well, okay, so say he brings somebody to the table, submits an RFP that they want to open a restaurant that only sells rutabaga, okay? Well, we pretty much don't think that's going to be a success. And so even though the guy's got the money and everything else, we say no to the rutabaga restaurant. And at that point, are we saying that he's entitled to a commission? Because I don't think we should write that way. I think it should be, he brings his people, and if they come up with an acceptable RFP, then he gets commission. If they don't, he doesn't.
There's, the way the documents are set up now, there's no specific connection between the RFP and his practices agreement. Although it's anticipated that through the RFP process that he is going to assist us in that process. So I think that if we're going to go out to an RFP, there has to be a tie between the commission agreement and the services of the RFP and what happens. If we're going to go to an RFP, then that's the process you're going to use.
Right.
But presumably, Mr. Practice may know people out there that he can encourage to submit through the RFP, but you ultimately will still make the decision. Now, if he does that and provides the services of helping us call through the RFP and all that, there's nothing wrong with having an agreement that he's going to get a commission for that.
Right.
But I think the commission agreement, the broker's agreement, needs to be tied to the RFP process.
Right.
And right now, it's not.
In the way that I was saying, right? I mean, he brings somebody with an RFP, we like the RFP, he gets a commission. Brings somebody that submits RFP, we don't like it, no commission.
That would have to be agreed to in the contract.
Right.
Are we required to go out to RFP?
Excuse me?
Do we have to go out to RFP, or can we just say, work with a broker and say, go out and find somebody and bring them in, if we like them, we'll do it? Or do we have to go to RFP?
We do have to do an RFP according to.
Either an RFP or the 30-day letter.
Pardon?
Either the
Either
30-day.
the 30-day letter approach or the RFP, and given the time involved in this, the 30-day letter really is sufficient.
I couldn't, the 30-day letter, what?
Whenever you sell or look to sell or lease property,
Yeah.
even if you enter into a tentative agreement with somebody, you find somebody you want to sell it to,
Yeah.
you have to give, provide 30 days notice, newspaper official notice,
Yeah.
so that anybody else who has an interest
Yeah.
in leasing or purchasing their property
Uh-huh.
can step forward. You're not required to lease or sell to the other person, you're not required to, even if the original deal that you've cut doesn't seem as good, but if you feel it's in the best interest of the CRA, you can still move forward with the original deal. But you need to do either one or the other.
What we did with Family Dollar.
Yeah.
I guess the tail end of my question there is, we put out the RFP, and Mr. Prekis brings us people, respond to the RFP, and we have other people respond to the RFP, not through Mr. Prekis. They're still in the running, and then he would only get the commission if we select somebody.
The RFP actually ties to Mr. Prekis. Mr. Prekis has to, he is the contact in the RFP.
Okay, so if somebody wants to submit an RFP, they go through him first. Okay, all
And
right.
he's actually the one that is going to be making a presentation, like a rankings, because he's got the expertise about restaurants that, quite frankly, is not.
That's no different than, when you're selling a house.
Right.
If someone has an exclusive broker's
Is that
agreement.
already
Right.
Right.
If someone has an
I'm going to
exclusive,
let you talk in a minute, okay?
if someone has an exclusive broker's agreement to sell your house, even if someone out of the blue comes in.
Right, okay, yeah, I understand that. I mean, that seems reasonable to me.
Well, let's hear it from Mr. Price. Let's hear it from you.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, or Vivian and gentlemen. I'm Tom Practice. I live in Delray Beach. I'm the president and broker of Practice and Company that presented that to Vivian. I wanted to clear some things up, and I understand your concerns. The year trailing, your concern of, I get paid even a year. If I bring somebody during that short period, let's say a 3-month period, I would get paid on that, yes. If you want to trim it down to 6 months or something, that you feel is more manageable, look, I'm here to help the city of Boynton, I really am. I've known Vivian for a long time. I'm here to kind of, these deals here, I'd love to get into the city of Boynton Beach. Our firm's done over 450 restaurants over the last dozen years in South Florida, brokered, meaning leased or sold them. So I'd like to bring my firm to Boynton, be able to lease or sell these properties for you. I'm very amenable to working with the city. It's a lot different than, enterprise. So look, your concerns, Vivian could convey to me and my company. Well, as long as they're within realistic terms. I even took the commission down in half. I took my commission down. We get a much bigger commission than I presented to you. I believe in Boynton downtown. I don't want to say this, but Delray Beach, I've consulted with their parking for years. We started Delray Beach when there were 2 restaurants, 32 East and the Old Dakota, and we put 30 of the 36 restaurants in Delray over the last 14 years. So I love to work with the cities. Anything you have that you need from me, or I think we can bring the expertise to bring and fill those units for you. That being said, when you said a vapor store, a marijuana store, look, I'm amenable to having you say just restaurant, bars, and you have to approve them, of course. I'm not going to bring somebody, and that's not my intent, is to bring somebody and force you into entering into a lease or whatever. So if you want to have legal or Vivian change some of the terms there, it's fine with me. I look forward to working with you, but it's for the long term, and it's to better the downtown in Boynton and to work with you. It's not to force you to enter into a contract with somebody you don't want to enter into a lease or a sale with. So.
Okay. You want to hear from the public now? We'd like to hear from anybody who wants to address
Based
it.
on, my name is Mary Lou Guzman, 19 Bel Air Drive, Boynton. Based on what I heard now, so I was coming to present a business of a restaurant. Is that already set? So I will have to go through him instead of going to you guys directly?
They have not voted
Not
yet.
yet. We haven't decided that yet.
Okay, that's my first question based on the discussion.
Yeah, we haven't decided yet which way we're going.
So when it's the time right, then I would like to present the business that we wanted to present for that location.
You want to give us a quick overview?
Sure, I don't have a fancy sliding show or anything, but we have a vision with a business that is already established for 18 years in Lantana. It's a small Cuban restaurant, and the owner would love to bring
Mr. Mayor,
an extension.
Actually, before the RFPs go out, I don't think you should be hearing presentations.
Yeah.
We haven't sent out RFPs, I guess we can't accept discussions yet.
So we wait, or I have to go?
Yeah,
to
you
the-
have to wait.
You have to wait.
You
Okay.
have to wait till we actually
They
go
have
out.
to approve it first.
So everybody has the equal, fair opportunity.
Yeah, there's no, everybody has to know that we're accepting those.
Okay.
Point of information, what's the status of the little house right now? I mean, it's technically, it's still not vacant, correct?
Yes, it is.
It's vacant, it's
Well,
not in operation.
That was the wrong term.
It's not in operation.
But it still isn't free and clear quite yet to.
No, not yet.
Yes.
Hi, Emily Rowlands, 519 Northwest 8th Avenue, Boynton Beach, Florida. I own a small business called In the Biz Solutions. I am very familiar with the business, and I think it is necessary probably to have somebody that does know about the business, so we do get somebody in there that can succeed. But my question is, or maybe I just have a suggestion, is maybe you could do a consulting fee with Mr. Practice, and then have something long-term where if somebody's successful 1 year, 2 years, then it's both maybe best for both parties. Just a suggestion from somebody who's worked in the business for over 20 years, that it's really hard to keep a restaurant going, and if he can really put somebody in there that is going to last a long time, then it's best for all parties that he does that. Just a suggestion.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you have any relationship with Mr. Practice?
I've never met him, heard him, seen him ever in my life.
That was a good question. Hi, Mr. Practice. I don't know why I'm speaking with you, but I'm a licensed real estate broker.
You're not, you're speaking to the board. You're not speaking
Excuse
to
me?
him. You're speaking to the board, not to him.
I know, but he's standing there.
Yeah, but you're not speaking to him, you're speaking to the board.
Oh, so what is his status and what is mine? I'm a taxpayer, I'm a citizen, and I...
You can speak to him privately after the meeting if you'd like, but right now you can speak to
well,
us.
then let him sit down.
He's fine. Go ahead,
Oh,
what do you want to
okay,
say?
thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chairman. Hello. I've lived here for a long time. I'm a licensed real estate broker. And you want to know what else? I actually, the little house, I really wanted it to succeed. And not only that, I put my money where my mouth is. And Attorney Spilius can tell you, I paid the rent for for Chrissy, right? Come on, Vivian, tell him, did I or did I not?
Yes.
And you deposited, the finance director person is there, and when you deposited, what did you write next to it?
I don't know what you wrote next.
No, she could tell you.
She
What
doesn't do the
accountants hire.
deposits.
By training and disposition.
She does not do the deposits.
Excuse me?
Go ahead,
Can you ask
finish.
her
Tell
to-
us
I
what you
asked a
want.
question.
Questions to
When
her
the
for
check for $1,325 went in, how was it entered?
Rent.
Rent.
Rent. Okay, so now to Attorney Spilius, you should ask, is it in default? My attorney could not be present, therefore I'm speaking. I'm sorry. Attorney David Schmidt of Delray Beach is not available. He's out of town right now, so I have to speak. I'm not a lawyer, I'm an accountant. So, is she or is she not in default?
She is in default, and she has a few more days to cure it.
Excuse me?
She is in default, and she has a few more days to cure it,
And she's in default for what reason?
because the premises are vacant, because she removed items from the premises that under the lease she was not permitted to do.
Maybe she's renovating it.
Maybe she is.
So, has anybody asked her?
She's gotten her letter, she can respond.
And you sent
And
the
she's
letter
not-
to
she's not
her,
permitted-
did you send the letter to her
Ma'am,
new address?
Ma'am, she's not permitted to renovate without the consent of the CRA.
Excuse me, to whom, may I, if the chairman would ask the attorney, where did they send the letter?
Fact is, we have a letter from the current leasee saying that she was vacating it and giving up the business.
And I think if I read the backup material of your last meeting, what your attorney told you, it's problematic. The rent has been paid for October.
But where do you want to go from here? What's your point?
Well, no, you're the chairman, and I'm a taxpayer. I'm asking questions.
Okay, we told you the rent, you paid the rent
And
for that lady.
right
I assume it
away,
was for
you're
her.
signing it up with an exclusive. Hey, I'm a licensed broker, and I can tell you, 1959, they have my fingerprints on file because I worked at the Palm Beach Ambassador, and it was legal then to ask for fingerprints. So I go back a long time with restaurants, and I can tell you, I know the ones in Del Rey, and he has Ceviche. Ceviche went out of business. A lot of them come in and go. Businesses are precarious. So now, again, Chairman Taylor, it's not a default, or is it?
He just told you it was a default.
And I'm
For
telling
different
you,
reasons.
if you read your minutes from last, what was given as the attorney's suggestion, recommendation, if you read it, it isn't. I'm not an attorney, I'm an accountant. It went in as rent, she's not in default.
She's in default for other reasons.
I got a couple questions.
Yeah.
To the lawyer, why would we take a check from a third party? Why would we even take that check?
The fact that it was coming from a third party is not relevant. Anybody can pay somebody's rent. The reason that we took it at that time, as I said it in my memo, the letter from the owner, I'm sorry, what's her name? Chrissy. Initially made it clear that she was leaving the end of September. That's what it said. That could have been at that point in time taken as an anticipatory breach of the contract. An anticipatory breach means someone has unequivocally said, I'm not going forward with the contract. But then a rent check was tendered. We did get an email from the operator saying that rent is for my rent for September. So in essence, we got notice from the tenant that the rent was going to be paid.
She said that was her?
She
Okay,
did.
Okay, now,
And to be on the safe side, because if you declare an anticipatory breach and you're wrong, then you're in breach. So the next step was to wait and see what she was going to do. Well, we then learned that she removed fixtures from the facility, that the doors were locked, that it was not being run as a restaurant. All of these things are breaches of the lease, where at that point we declared a breach, but she's given a certain period of time to cure the default. And that's what the letter was that was sent out to her. And I believe the date is October 21st, is the date by which either the restaurant needs to be, the fixtures put back in, the restaurant operational, and the rent current. And that's right, and insurance as well has lapsed. Otherwise, it's a default that has not been cured, and we can terminate the lease.
what happens, just let me finish up. The next step on this, do we table this to move it forward so we can make some corrections or change some language in this before we vote on it?
Well, the suggestion was going to be that it only be effective in the event that she did not cure the breach. But based on the discussion tonight and the contract and the RFP not being coupled as they are, my suggestion is that we defer it until we can get together with Mr. Practice, redevelop the contract, hook it together with the RFP process for both of the properties. There are two properties that we're looking to do that with tonight.
Question regarding the check. Will, after everything is organized, will that check go back to the party that paid it?
Oh, it's the rent for this month?
It's just, so this woman paid for out of the goodness of her heart.
We never even got, we couldn't even go in to look at it.
Then why'd you pay rent?
Okay, let's not have an open discussion. No, we're not having that.
I'm a taxpayer.
Yes, did you have something, Mr. McCann? Sorry, you're out of order. You're out of order.
I'd just like to give, I don't think we need a motion on this.
Please sit down or I'll have you removed.
I don't think we need I don't think we need a motion on this. I think I'd like to see us just give staff direction to move forward developing an agreement that we would approve, tying the RFP to the commission and have them develop that and then bring it back to us at the next meeting.
That's called
Chair.
deferred. Can I make a motion on top of this?
Yeah.
My motion would be that we defer this until we come up with those verifications tied into the RFP.
Well, that's what I'm saying, just give staff direction. Just give staff
I was just
direction
using
to
legal terms.
develop that.
I'll second that.
Motion is second to defer it until all this stuff is taken care of. Anybody else have any discussion?
Yeah, discussion.
Yeah.
We do have.
This is one. The person that rented the place, is she here tonight?
No,
Yeah, that's her.
no.
No, the lady, the original one?
The one, let me make sure, the one who operated, Christie, who's operated the little house, she's not here tonight.
No.
Good, okay, carry the motion.
Okay.
Chair.
Motion is second, yes.
One of the things that came out very strong last week at the FRA was this idea of RFPs. And we as a city have not had very good turnout from RFPs. One of the statements, and I think Assistant Executive Director Mike Simon was in that meeting. I don't know if Tracy was in that or not, but they kept saying that the infrastructure are not in place. And many times the developers look at these and they just almost laugh. I'm not sure what those pieces are, but it's something. Mike, do you want to comment on what you heard there in terms of those infrastructures and why developers are really not taking us as serious as maybe they should?
Well, I think more specific to this evening is the RFP process and RFQ process. It was discussed amongst the development community that the RFPs that are written by cities many times are not inviting enough to actual and legitimate developers because of the conditions and the amount of money that's spent in putting this together and then getting here and finding out that 3 people just don't want that after all of this involvement. We've had it with RFPs for restaurants and our properties before. The very specific nature of these things to have a successful party come out and do things. I mean, think about all of the ones we've done before that nothing has happened from. I think the concern from the public that we're bringing in a commercial entity to review and to be part of this is evidence that we should have a third party involved in this. And I don't know, it's hard to get involved in the existing conditions of the little house without saying that at this point to the public it appears that we are looking like we have somehow put ourselves against Chrissy instead of supporting her for many years with free rent and other things. And unfortunately, the article in the paper that we were very good, we had a great relationship with Chrissy. We worked hand in hand to build that restaurant. Chrissy terminated her lease of her own willing. She was in the paper of her own willing, describing the fact that she is on an adventure in her career. These are not things that were initiated by the CRA. Asking her to leave was not part of the CRA's intention. We have worked very hard to keep her successful. So I didn't want that to be overlooked from the newspaper or from the public. even though many people appear not to have that same opinion of us. But I think there's other elements of the conference that I think we could speak to in a general discussion about RFPs that perhaps are more beneficial at that time.
Okay. Okay, I have a motion and a second.
Second.
Yeah, I did have one second. I just want to add one thing on discussion. My concern is here, we're going to have a vacant property sitting there. And so even though we're going to talk about deferring this tonight, I think there's something we can work out here. But I would like to ask CRA to do it as expeditiously as possible and bring something back to this board. Because we need to move because, you know, we're talking an RFP, you're talking 90 days. I wish it could be maybe shorter.
How about we
you're talking
bring it
about
back to
this.
at a commission meeting, a special CRA meeting before a commission meeting?
Whatever it could do to speed it up, because we're talking about having an empty spot sitting there through the whole season, you know, that's bad. I want to get something there up and running, because that's a key place in the city, so that's just my thought there. I have a motion second.
Mr. Chair, thank you. My take is, and this is to Vivian and also to our attorney, I'm not trying to put blame, you know, but I'm just saying, you know, these are things that when it comes to us in the public and make us look bad. I'm saying, Vivian, I'm trusting you because of your salary, your amount, and your supposed expertise is to have things in place. We're paying an attorney also who's supposed to have things in place, and you know, and I'm sitting there kind of looking like saying, y'all haven't told me nothing yet. I'm just saying, you know, these are things that I'm not trying to place blame, but you know, these things should be worked out before they even get to us. I'm just saying, well, we have to haggle here in the public to try to figure out what are we supposed to do next and make us look real bad. Make me look real bad. I don't know about nobody else.
Well, they made a.
I can make all seven of you happy. It'd be a good day.
I happen to agree with the mayor in the sense that we need to move rapidly. The part that I find totally confusing and is the letter that was sent by the owner. It says simply, I'm out of here. To me, that's a statement saying I don't want to run the business, I don't want to be a part of the business, and therefore it's the obligation of the city, in this case the CRA, to move forward. If the person is not able to make her or his payments, then the person is out, and the person written it in script saying I don't want it. So to me, it's very black and white. These extras by the citizens, sure, no one wants a business to fail, especially a little business. That's what this country was made of. But the person who owned it stated, I'm out of there. So it's a rather simple statement, and make it simple, and let's move forward.
The last thing we'll add is, also, please, besides RFP, look at that 30-day thing they talked about. If that's quicker than RFP, we might want to go down that road. So just leave that open to you too. So have a motion and a second to defer this until we get more information. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So the motion is unanimous. That kind of covers all four of these items.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Do we want to bring this back in a special meeting or keep it until
I'm
the
gonna
next?
try to get it done and try to get it on before a commission meeting, get it faster. So if I can get it done, I'll do that.
Which commission meeting, please?
Whichever one I can get it on.
It can't be the one coming up because we already have a
Right, I don't think so. Yeah.
okay, first one in November.
I'll-
Okay, there's no further business. Then you're.